with her stuff.
Abraham Hicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just kidding.
Hey, how you doing? This is Jason Snyder with Jordan and Sullivan. We're just kind of put this hangout together to talk about just the law of attraction, allowing Abraham and using Abraham Hicks videos as a, or YouTube videos as a, as like I said, as a backdrop to our everyday lives. We do watch and listen to Abraham Hicks every day. So um, we decided to put this hangout together just to talk about our experiences with kind of the law of attraction, the allowing stages, and how we're trying to, I guess, put ourselves or align ourselves within the vortex,
Right.
within the source. I should say. I'm sorry.
And sometimes we go a little off the subject, like online dating.
Yeah. Man, I have so many stories. I should write a book, right?
Right.
Oh, actually, I'm gonna write a book. So, um, funny things happen, right? This, it's one day just kicking back. I work all the time. I do internet stuff. Well, actually, we both do internet stuff,
Right.
and so I'm just really busy because I'm trying to establish myself in this online community. And there's so much noise in the world that you really have to do a lot of work initially to kind of get your feet running. It's with any business, right? You have to do a lot of work to get your feet to get running, basically, right? To get started. And so I was like, one day I was like, well, it's been what 10, 11 months since I broke up with my last girlfriend, since we broke up. So I was like, you know what? Let me try this online dating thing again, right? Because I met her through online dating, and we had a good relationship, but we were, you know, and to bring this full circle, I was watching the Abraham Hicks video last night, yesterday, and she was talking about your vibrational max. If you have a wobble, then you're going to attract a wobble. Well, I attracted a wobble because I had a wobble myself, and two wobbles don't make it right. That's why we broke up, right? so, so I'm in this. That's actually a good one, right? It's great. So I'm in this online
And what's
community.
a wobble?
No, she says that all the time. She's like,
I know. We should explain for people who are watching who don't know. Wobbles when you're not aligned with what you want. You're just not matching up what you want and where you are. There's a gap in some aspects.
okay, yeah, there you go. Thanks for explaining because I couldn't have done that.
Hmm.
And so we broke up, whatever, and it's been what 10, 11 months. So, you know what? Let me just try this online dating thing again, right? So go to a site, my information, under all my stuff, right? My pictures and all that good stuff. Well, I'm a very inspirational person, so I put a very inspirational message in my bio because that's just who I am. I write inspirationally, I speak inspirationally. I want everyone to have. There's this inner desire within all of us, and I want everyone to just feel that inner desire and actually follow their passion, follow their dreams, and follow their heart. And a lot of people don't do that, and I think that part of my story of what I struggled with was I think I've always been that person. I've always had that inside me, and that's my calling. Really, is to help people with that, to bring that out of them and show them that they can be better than they were yesterday, which is a little bit of work. A lot of people just don't want to do the work. Anyways, back to the story. So I one girl kind of chats you can do this thing. It's called meet, if you like to meet, or if you're a match or something like that. So there's like a series of women will pop up, and you can see if she's attractive or not, right? Well, this one girl's attractive, so she got, and then she thought I was attractive. She got back to me, right? So let's go. We talked for a couple days on the chat, and then we exchanged phone numbers. We were text messaging, and she was always wanting to call, and I hate talking on the phone. This is why I love online business, because you really don't have to talk on the phone unless you want to, but she always wanted to talk on the phone. So I said, okay, it's cool, but let me, I tell her, I'm really busy. I prefer the text message, and so we kind of had that conversation. She's like, well, let's meet up. Right. So we met up, and in was it Huntington? No, it was in Newport Beach at this restaurant called Saddleback Ranch. And I'm not sure if Saddleback Ranch is that's a nationwide or worldwide restaurant, but they have them in Los Angeles in a few areas. One in Hollywood, there's one in There's, of course, Newport. There's also one at City Walk. I've always been to the one at City Walk. I think there's one in West LA also. So we had lunch. We get to talking, and she's in real estate, and it's great. I'm an online marketer, and blah blah blah. And then she poses. She's like, oh, and we're talking about just kind of telling her a little bit about my story, not all of my story, just a little bit about my story. And she's like, wow, you're all personal development. I'm like, that's all I do is I develop myself every day. I tune into personal development. I read every day. I write every day. I think every day. I'm taking in some kind of just daily inspirational audio. I am, from my tragedy, this is what God birthed, right? My rebirth is this. And she was, wow, that's amazing. She's like, have you ever seen Anthony Robbins? I'm like, no, I haven't seen Anthony Robbins. I really want to go see him. She's, oh, we go see him all the time. And she's like, matter of fact, the company I work with, we're all personal development. And I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, here it comes. Because every day on Facebook, I'm hit up by some kind of, somebody wants me to join their business, right? I'm not trying to join you. I got my own business. I'm not trying to join anybody else's business, right? She's like, yeah, it's World Ventures and this and that. It's great, blah, 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 and all this stuff about, travel and personal development and this and that and this. I'm like, man, are you freaking serious? Okay, I'm just going to enjoy the day. Yeah. I'm not going to make any note of it. I'm just going to enjoy the day, right? I'm just going to enjoy, being in Newport Beach is a beautiful city, and we're on the patio, and it was just a great, great scene. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to enjoy my time here. I'm not going to just make a reference of her trying to get me into her business. I go, this is a sorry way to try to get somebody to join you.
Not very forthright.
Yeah.
Not very forthright.
And
sneaky.
so
a little sneaky.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And I was like, man, are you serious? And so so we went on and we ended up leaving and we talked a little bit afterwards. Then she's like, well, you should check out the video. I'm like, I already seen World. I've never put up with World Ventures before. But I thought it was a business opportunity for myself because actually what we do is we help, Jordan and I, we actually help network marketers promote their business. And so I started asking some questions, and she was really, as much as she wanted to think that she was open to things, she wasn't open to things. So she had a lot of work to do on herself, even though she was pretty successful in what she was doing. She wasn't open to, I don't know, I read people well, and just her fix is, this is all it is, and this is all that matters, and this is the way I'm going to do it. Well, that's fine, but there's a better way to promote your business than to going on a dating service and to find somebody you think that you can target it to your business. There's so many different ways to promote your business, and I was trying to tell her that. I mean, you ever thought about doing anything online or having a blog or anything like that? And she's like, no, I'm just gonna do it the way I do it. I'm like, all right, cool. Happy life with that. This is one of the reasons why I got away from doing the face-to-face business, because you're desperate to find people to grow your organization when you're in the say of multi-level marketing. You're like our mentor said, you're wandering around Walmart. Well, yes, I was wandering around Walmart trying to find people. I even thought about doing the daily service thing before, so maybe that was just a match coming back to me, right? Because I thought about doing that before too, but I wasn't going to just pitch my opportunity to everybody. And so in that spirit, you get caught up with, okay, who can I talk to next? And then you get upset, and she was upset because her brother-in-law didn't want to join her business. Well, not everyone's going to join your business. And so I looked at it. So when I looked at the video, I looked at it at the standpoint, well, how can this work for me? I don't want to promote it, but if there's a benefit, because I want to travel, if there's a benefit for me putting into this to where I can get a discount on travel, well, it's cool, but you're going to pay, I think it's $365 just down payment, and then you're going to pay so much on it per month. Well, I already have a timeshare, because then I have control on where I can go, or what I can do. Or I'd rather just book a trip on Travelocity because it'll be cheaper, or the same price. So I'm not paying so much per month to be a part of a club I want to be a part of. And she didn't understand that. She's like, oh no, you get this and you get that, and it's just not for me. I don't like any. I'm not into. I like to do what I want to do when I want to do it. That makes me feel good. So that's what I do. Doing what I want to do when I want to do it. There's a book called The 4 Hour Workweek I just started reading, and he talks about, he calls it the NR. I think it's what Tim Ferriss, he calls it the NR, the new rich. And basically, you can either trade time for money, or you can have systems work for you so that you're spending less time working, producing the same, maybe making the same amount of money, but you have more free time. So maybe you work an hour a day, 2 hours a day. You're making the same amount of money you were before, but you have this lifetime style freedom that you could do whatever you want. That's my vision for it. This is why I'm doing what I do. This is my vision. This is my dream. This is what I'm working for. This is what makes me happy. You know, I walked into a class yesterday, right? And yesterday was Wednesday, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, yesterday was Wednesday.
Wait a minute. Now I'm confused. Yes.
And I haven't cut my hair in a couple of weeks. I had a beard. I haven't shaved in like a week. And I was showered. I was showered. I was actually kind of looking good. And I had this big old beard. And they go, we're talking about, oh, it's Wednesday. Oh, it's Wednesday? She's like, you don't know what date it is? How did you get here? I go, well, there's an alarm on my phone, and it goes off and it says, go to class by 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. And so I seen that and I went to class. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have gone to class. And everyone started laughing, but, I've been so confined to always being on someone else's schedule that it's not within me to be on somebody else's schedule. And so it's like trying to fit a triangle in a square peg. It just doesn't work. And this is why I listen to the Abraham Hicks videos every day. It's because you do what feels right for you, and then you'll find that vibrational match for that, because it's what joy and happiness is what you want in your life. You don't want stress or strife or anything like that. So you want to raise yourself above those levels and come from a place of love and giving and generosity and discernment. And I think when you do that, you'll start to see a notice in the things and the people around you. I've lost so many friends who I thought were my friends, who I worked with for years, who, just because they probably think I'm crazy for the life path that I'm taking. Well, yeah, maybe I am a little crazy, right? But nothing gets changed until somebody comes in and changes and rebuffs the system, right? There's never change until someone does something different to create that change. Well, there's a society of people who are doing this same thing, and what's to say that I can't do that, right? Or that I can't live the way that I want to. So you're just not choosing to do that. You're choosing to, if you're aligned with that and you're happy with that, that's great. There's more power to you. But not everyone is built for that or fits that mold. I have it forever. I've always been sort of a loopy type kid, do things differently. I think different, I do different, I am different. And so I guess long story short is, we became Facebook friends, and we haven't, since, I think it was like last Tuesday, right, when all this, when I told him I'm not going to join your business, and so we haven't talked since then. And I'm like, man, it's a shame how people deal with people nowadays. There's no synergy, and she was trying to do the fear loss thing with me and all that. And I'm like, you know what? I know I know this vibe. I've been on this rodeo more than once. I've done it before. Because she came at me, and the first thing she said after the video was like, so what'd you like the rest about the video? And that is the number one thing network marketers say to you after you watch the video. You know why? Because it's in Eric Rory's book. It's the first book that I picked up when I became a network marketer, was Eric Rory's book, right? And I was like, and I gave her, if you do the emoji con with the kind of slanted face or the slanted lip, I gave her that kind of response, like, that's not really my thing.
It's not working.
To promote it, and so I don't know. Long story short, that was a long story, right? I guess there's no short way to put it. But it was just amazing, or to me, funny how people treat you when they want something from you, and and realistically, in any situation like that, it's a relationship business. The forces to the follow up, and excuse me, and it's see what the mistake is. A lot of people in that niche or industry, want um, they want you to buy instantaneously, right? Well, see, a lot of times people don't want to go in business for themselves, right? They're just hands off to that. So sometimes you're talking to the wrong person for one, and so they're not very vibrational match for it. It's just like, why talk to the wrong people? You're not going to get anywhere talking to the wrong person. You can't force anybody or even hypnotically sell somebody something that they don't want to do it, right? Just the way it is. They want something else. Um, and then two, you have to develop some kind of relationship with that person. You have to have some kind of follow up system for that, so that they may not the time for them may not be it may not be 12 o'clock for them yet, but at some point it might be, and you want to be there when it is. And a lot of people lose sight of that. I try to educate as many people who come through me on Facebook who try to attach to me and try to sell me something on Facebook. I'm like, well, listen, you're doing it all wrong, you know. And so I tried to educate as much as possible for that, and I was trying to do that with her, but she just didn't want to see it.
I guess there will be no wedding bells in the future.
No, not anytime soon.
Oh God. Yeah.
No, I'm far from that point.
Her approach leaves a little bit to be desired. That's all.
It really does. And when I was in that sphere of things, um, I just kind of look back on it. I want to laugh at myself. I was talking with one of my buddies a couple weeks ago. I was on a Saturday, and I was telling him I was telling him, yeah, man, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I was trying to pressure you into my business.
She made you look at yourself.
Yeah. This is even before meeting her. I just knew that it's just not right. Why talk to somebody who doesn't want? It just doesn't make any sense. I'm thinking that, well, you're my friend. You should do me a favor. It's like, yeah, I'm doing you a favor.
By saying your friend.
Yeah, and yeah, basically, yeah, and not join your business. So it takes what's possible. It takes a special kind of person or a different kind of person to do that. You have to have really, really be, and not necessarily. That's not necessarily me. I'm the type of person. I attract people to me. So I'm like the more come find me type things, and so I just like to do advertising for that, and not go up and just randomly start talking to people, because I'm a big black man and sometimes I intimidate people, and I don't mean to. It just happens. So Jordana, how you doing? How you doing today?
Good. Good. Did you watch any videos in particular that caught your attention that you wanted to talk about?
Well, the relationship one was a really good one, and I think I may have sent you one.
I think we're sending each other ones that we sent each other.
Yeah. Go back and forth.
Yeah.
The relationship one is one that really I didn't really identify with this week, and there was one yesterday that I also paid attention to too, also, but it's not as distinct in my mind like the relationship one.
So what do you remember from the relationship one? Do you remember anything?
Well, just her talking about the wobble, and when you have a wobble, you attract a wobble. And so basically the guy, and this is true, and I totally, and I was doing this on purpose and not even knowing it. So there's a guy, he met this girl, and they went on a date. What's that?
Is this a friend of yours or someone who was at?
No, this is on the Abraham Hicks video.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you how I do it, right? Because I'm scheming, right? Anyways, so this guy met this girl, and they went on a date. Date was great. He said he brought her flowers. Guys, I don't recommend you bringing flowers on the first date, but he brought flowers. And I don't know. Do you have a take on that, Jordana?
Well, I don't think better to make a gesture like that after you get to know the person. It has more of an impact. But it is always nice to get flowers.
Oh yeah, but I don't know. I just have something against it on the first date. I don't know.
I've heard that as a rule that you shouldn't, because it's like you're giving flowers just because. The second date, it means you like the person. You're giving them flowers because you know them personally.
Yes, it's a little bit different context at that
Yeah,
point,
as
right?
opposed to generically giving flowers.
Yes. And
Well,
so he came and give flowers, and they had a great day. She's like, "Oh my God, you're so amazing!" Blah blah blah. Ooh, ooh,
I like that
fairy
girl. What did
tale,
you do?
fairy tales, Mary Poppins. You know, it's all great.
Mhm.
And so they had another date, and I guess she went to his house, and in his house he had some mediums there, like angels, and I'm guessing he had his altar, and she's seen his altar. I'm guessing. He just said it's some angel stuff, and he talked about the law of attraction, and it scared her away. Like she went running to the hills, right?
Mm.
And he was just wondering why. Well, what Abraham said basically, Abraham Hicks was saying that she just wasn't a vibrational match for you. She may have been, but she wasn't able to identify that with herself yet. She's not ready for it. And he was so on to like trying to figure out like why, and she was telling him why. Listen, the way I see it is you're if you have a vision of say the kind of person what you want or the kind of person that you want, you're a vibrational match for it, but you have to raise your level of vibration to say to get there, right? Um, at a point she had that attraction for him, but she just wasn't ready for what she's seen. And so it basically kind of frightened her, or scared her, so she ran off. Well, I see this all the time in my life. So what I do is I'm never too honest to a fault, but I say certain things to people and to invoke a reaction from them because not everybody is ready for you, and so you have to kind of judge that from a person, right? And so okay, cool, you're attracted to me, but okay, now this is the kind of person that I am, and being honest with somebody, and then you can gauge their I guess responsiveness from there. Either they're going to run for the hills, or they're just not going. They're going to be a match for you or not. And I think sometimes it's better to do that earlier in the earlier stages than later on them find out things and them and then them you just investing more time in them and them running off. Well, he was so just torn by it. I'm like, dude, you only went on 2 dates. 2 dates.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And even Aaron was like, you don't only been 2 days. Like, why are you even tripping? It doesn't make any sense. I just think there's so many people out there want instant gratification. They want it now. I want it now. Twitter now. Facebook now. Now I want it now. I want it now. Slow down. You know what we were talking about this other day? Slow down. Like you don't. If anything is worth it, it's gonna happen when it's meant to happen, right? That person's gonna come to you when you're ready for them. That's just what it comes down
Yeah.
to. And so this is what I tell myself because I mean I just have this overfluence of energy around me and people feel it. And I think sometimes people are terrified from it. And that's fine. That's good. It tells me that they're not my match. And so it's just easier not to deal with that. And then it's easier to deal with somebody who is your match, and you have you recognize each other, and then you can okay, cool, well, game recognized game. Let's play, But a lot of people we caught up with, oh well, this person didn't like me, or this or that and this. All you can do really is just work on yourself, be yourself,
And love
and
yourself.
love. There you go. And with that, you'll attract that right person towards you.
Right. I feel you should be so busy loving yourself, doing things that make you happy, raising your vibration to attract the right person. When you're in alignment with yourself, you can attract the right kind of person. When you're out of alignment, I used to do the landmark education seminars, and they talk about being in integrity, which is the same thing. When you're saying one thing and doing another in your life, you're out of integrity. So it's kind of the same thing as being in alignment, saying what, and doing what's true for you in life. And we should all be so busy doing that. For those that are single, it shouldn't be really a question of who's out there for me. Just dedicate yourself to loving yourself in that way deeply, and the right person will appear. I've heard it many times.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. And that's just it kind of goes through, you attract your match at that time. And if you're not I'm gonna take it to the context of my last relationship, right? I didn't
Mm-hmm.
love myself enough, right? I don't think she did either. I mean she thought she did, but we both had this humongous wobble, right? And we were just too wobbly, we just wobbling along. And and there's a sense of just being comfortable with somebody at that level. So that fear factor is kind of gone because you're comfortable, right?
Familiar.
There you go. You're familiar with each other, right? Because you both have sort of the same, I guess, issues inside.
And energy.
Yes. And as soon as things happen, and then my energy level actually started to raise. My vibration level actually started to raise, and she couldn't identify with that. I think she was afraid of that. She's like, oh wow, and that happens from time to time, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just something that happens, and you just, for that particular time and moment of your life, that was that there was purpose behind that. It was for you to basically move on to the next level of things. And if you look at things like that, there's always heartbreak, but the heartbreak isn't as bad because you know that there's something better out there for you because you're doing different things now. And a lot of people don't recognize with that. I should just do a show. We should just do a show on relationships one day, just talk about relationships.
A show that would take like a year.
We just break them down in like individual sections. I should be like Steve Harvey and write a book and then make a movie about it. Sure. It's just.
And actually, that's so important to so many people, that what Abraham Hicks offers for people looking for a relationship or to work on family relationships or any current relationships is fantastic, because we basically have to take the whole responsibility for the relationship. It's only a mirror. Whatever we see in the other person, it's only there because it exists in us.
Yes, definitely. And there's I think communication is a big source of things. If you're not communicating, you're not going anywhere. Communication is the most important thing, not only in a relationship, but just in any relationship that you have in your life. It's just communication between you and that person. And if you're communicating well, and then they understand where you're coming from, they understand you, they understand your story, they understand what kind of person you are, then things change. Things are a little bit different once you start communicating. So it's very important to just keep in communications with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any videos you want to talk about today?
I was I looked at one that was relationship that was several days ago. So the one that I most recently looked at was Abraham Hicks telling a new family story. Now, this concept of telling a story, I was raised in a family we like to talk about what's going on in family members' life, and what she offers is that there's always two sides, two stories. There's what you don't want and what you do want. And basically, she breaks it down to tell, when you catch yourself thinking about what you don't want, tell what you do want. And she gives examples like, oh, my body aches today. Oh, I'm feeling really good. You hear that. You basically become a translator for your negative thoughts.
Yes.
And the positive ones is the statement that you do want. There's always two stories. And then we get caught up because, we want to talk about things the way we are, the way we see them. But she says it's more about talk about what you're becoming, not what has been, and tell the story of creation, not of regurgitation.
That's big. And it kind of goes back to that speak as if, you know,
Right.
always speak as if, you're never going to be the person you want to be until you see that person and you try to reach to become that person. You take on that person's energy. Um, a lot of times we get caught up, like we talked about last week, you get caught up with, oh, I'm just going to, speak as it is, but as it is isn't going to get you anywhere. It's just as it is. It's just in the present. You're not seeing yourself. You're not envisioning yourself in the future. You're not envisioning, you know, where you want to go. You're not so with any path or any journey, there's a end goal in mind, and in that end goal in mind, there's this you have to see that, and then always constantly remind yourself of that, because that's where you want to be. Am I
Right.
right?
Well, right. We have to exercise our powers of creation that we have as co-creators with God and with each other to create. And one of the ways we do that is within our speaking and telling the story. Don't tell the story. That one girl got up and was talking and trying to backtrack, tell a little bit of the background story so people can understand where it is she wanted to go. But Abraham Hicks kept saying, no, no, we don't want to hear, don't go back there. And there's a propensity to go back and hash out the past, or like something you might do with a therapist, really is not really productive, because it won't get you anywhere. It won't help you close the gap between where you want to be and where you are. It will just keep you stuck. And we are concerned about telling lies, basically. And that's not it at all. It's basically using your power of creation to actually create. And when you speak to people and you tell them the positive story, they begin to work with you to support that vision, and things begin to happen, just like the others choose too. If you have a relationship, say something with a girlfriend or the male buddy, and you start talking negatively about them, that becomes fixated by the
Yes.
listener of that story. If that's what you want, then you go about it that way, but that's really not what most of us want. We want to uplift and move forward and to expand ourselves and each other. We have to tell the other story.
I think I was telling you earlier this week that I've been on this. I think over the weekend, last weekend, I went on this like just personal quest to just, I guess maybe understand myself a little more, And so I've asked myself some really deep questions, and I kind of went back in my mind and put myself on this journey. And what it came to was, this is going to be kind of funny. There's this. I'm not sure if you guys have heard the story Jason and the Argonauts. There's a Greek
No.
story of a guy named Jason. He goes on this adventure. Well, that's my story, right? That's me. That's who I am. And I remember that when I was a kid watching that, and they're on the ship, and all the going through the rocks and all the trials and tribulations they had to get to get what he desired. And in this, him and his cohorts, they went through and they fought through all these challenges, and the people stabbing them in the back, and just everything from that. And and what was the key message of that movie was, if you desire something, it's yours to get. You just got to go and get it if you desire it. Like, sometimes something has to push you. You have to have an awakening, and something has to push you to that point. And so when, like, personally for me, I had a personal awakening, and in my process of my personal awakening, I said, okay, well, I want to do what I desire to do, and with that, I found this. I found the law of attraction. I found, we ran into each other. We found each other. We became friends, and we became friends with a vast amount of people. And when you become friends with like-minded people, you're on the same mission. You're kind of doing the same things, and they become your co-inhabitors, and you go on this adventure together, and you lift each other up, and you want to be there for for this new group of friends who see things and believe the same things that you believe, who have the same beliefs that you have, and not everyone's going to agree with what you're doing, but you know you have to do it because it's your purpose. And when it's your purpose, you find what you desire, and you chase that dream, you chase what you desire. And so there was a scene when he one of the king of the country who he took the golden fleece from said, "Oh, you just want to be king of my country, that's why you killed my son." He's like, "No, that's not what I desire. That's not my desire. My desire is to take the golden fleece back so I can save my mother. That's what I desire. I don't desire your kingdom." He probably could have had his kingdom and killed him and took his kingdom, but that's not what he wanted. He went for exactly what he wanted and didn't sway from what he wanted. And so a lot of people, I think a lot of us in society, we get trapped with not following our true heart contempt and what we desire to do. And because we live in this realm of fear, false emotions appearing real. Fear is not real. It's just triggered by an emotion that makes us think it's real. Well, an emotion isn't real. You know, it's not tangible. It's just something you fixate in your mind that you make up, and then you try to go forth and create for yourself. And I just had something right now. Anyways, I'm not gonna go into that. I can't go into that. But it is, and this fear factor that we live behind, you know, this lens of fear that we have, it stops us from doing so much. It stops us from being, I guess, it stops us from our sole purpose, and it stops us from our desire, pure point blank. And if once you do something you fear, you know, it changes you. And in the book, The Four I Work With, he said you should do something you fear every day. At least one thing you fear every day, because it changes you as a person. You know, I used to fear speaking in front of people. And when we started doing these hangouts, I would wear glasses because I didn't want my face to be something. You know? But now I'm like, okay, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But the glasses now, now the glasses are a part of me, though. You know, they're a part of my MO. I don't know if it's my ego or what it is, but it's my personal persona to wear white Ray-Bans. That's just me. And
because the future's so bright.
Yeah, I gotta wear shades, you know. my lens is the lens that I see the world is of different colors, so I have to wear the shades to calm it down a little bit. Right. Kind of like, I guess, like what's it, X-Men, Cyclops, laser vision. So you know, just what I'm saying is just don't live in fear. Don't, because it's not real. Don't live in it. Don't live in that realm of fear. Get out and do something that you wanted to do. You know, just, I'm not saying quit your job or anything like that. I'm just saying do something that's different. Take a different route to work. You know, you may see something you didn't see before. You know, take the time to smell the roses sometimes and enjoy life. This is something we don't do enough of.
Absolutely. Well, the other thing with Abraham Hicks is the emphasis on happiness and feeling happy. And I don't think it was something I grew up with. I had basically intellectual parents, and it wasn't about happiness. It was about dissecting literature or reading or learning or talking about history. It wasn't really a lot of emphasis on fun and feeling good. If you felt bad, well, it was just, you know, you were growing. So you should wallow in it, study that, what was going on, or discuss it. Yeah, and so for the first time, I'm hearing it like it matters. And someone says, you're supposed to be happy.
Yes.
You're supposed to feel good.
Yes.
Life is supposed to feel good.
Yes.
I guess because I believe this source, Abraham Hicks, more than others. I've heard it before, of course, and I've read books on happiness, and of course I felt happy a lot. But I didn't feel the importance of it to this degree as I do now. I mean, I know it's something I've always strived for, be as happy as possible all the time. But now she makes it our number one goal.
Yes. Yeah. It is, you know, and I remember. I think I was telling you this. I took this like test. It was a it was a happiness test, right? Are you happy?
Uh-huh.
So it was something I ran across on Facebook. I was on Facebook. This is back in, it had to be around September-ish, I'm guessing.
Hmm.
Oh, I have another story for you too. Before I go into this
Good.
story, okay. We talked about totems and spirit animals before, right?
Talk about what?
Totems and spirit animals. And
Totems,
I'm
yes.
always telling you, I could run across insects. Well,
Right.
um,
You had that bee enter in your video.
yes, I had a
That was a good
bee. I
one.
actually had a bee. I persuaded a bee to land on my finger. Crazy, right? I think that video got like 74 views.
Wow, gonna get
Yeah.
more now.
And and see,
Stay tuned.
in that video, I was talking about fear because I always feared bees, and then I kind of took it from a different content of allowing the bee to come with me because it wasn't going to sting me, right? But when I was a kid, I had just always terrified of bees, and then I've reverted it back to like the Batman thing when Batman was afraid of bats because he had the instinct with bats. And instead of being afraid of the bee, I actually allowed the bee to come to me. Well, then now it's like bumblebees, right? It's like these big old black bumblebees soaring around my face, and I'm like, man, what is this? And so I looked it up. It was actually bumblebees and flies. So the bumblebees were diet,
Mm-hmm.
and then the same thing, just and it talked about controlling your body temperature, being I forgot that there's a name for that. Maybe it being a medium or something like that. I'm not sure. Um, and then it was flies. Like I'm like, dang, am I sweet with all these flies around me? Basically, the flies are wings that it's change. Change is about to happen. Well, then I revert this back before I go to the next part. I revert this back to around September, October-ish, in between that time. I had an infestation of flies in my house. I don't know where they came from, how they got in. I mean, because we always kept I don't know where they came from. It was nuts. It was almost like they had a nest somewhere. I just didn't know where it was at, and they had all these babies and it flew up. But it wasn't it though. They were full-blown flies, and so we finally got rid of all the flies. Like, where are these flies coming from? And they're just bugging. My brother was living with me at the time. They're just bugging. And so I didn't realize at the time I didn't know about spirit animals, and there's a sign for us, a sign of something. And so we finally got rid of the flies, and then Monday I'm noticing a lot of flies around me, and I'm like, okay, well, let me look it up. And it's basically talking about just change. There's gonna be a major shift in change that's gonna happen in your life. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's gonna be good or bad. But the last time that happened, so I thought back to the last time that I had all these flies around me. Well, yeah, there was a humongous change in my life, and this is when I a month later I was in Empower Network. So I went from you know trying to promote to people or talk to people who were hey, I'm in Walmart in my suit. I have pictures of that too. It's one of my little coffee sachets, right? I went from that point to and because I've always wanted to do something online. This goes back about 4 years ago. I just didn't know where to go. I've always wanted to do something online. I always wanted to do something online, and and then I found it. And when I found it, automatically I just went just 110%, just went all in for it. Right? Just that's just the kind of person I was. I just knew it. I recognized it. My sole desire was behind what I'm doing, and so I went and did it. That was the first initial change, because I shifted from just being some dude that was talking to people on Walmart to actually developing a skill set that I can use in a I can work for companies or do whatever I want to do, right? But I choose to work from home. So I heard this back around the same time. I was online just looking for stuff, and I found this test as a happiness test, and it talked about just are you happy? Just being happy, and it was in a way that I took the quiz, and it said you're not happy. I'm like, dang, I'm really not happy, and so I had to really take a look at myself and okay, well, how can I be happy? What makes me happy? And I started just to kind of do the things that to to take me forth to make me happy, and then it led me to of course doing what I'm doing now. And then from there we went to Miami, and then I put an intention out on the trip to Miami, the event in Miami, and within that I've just met this group of people who are fantastic. Same thing in Seattle, put this tent, and then it was fantastic. And then from that standpoint, it was great. I loved it. I thought it was awesome, right? And so I've always strived just for happiness, and I've never been a sad person. I never let anybody disrupt my vibe or anything like that. But I was just at such a low point in my life that I needed something to, not to make me feel better, but I needed to make change. And then that's why I had the Ralphs for Flies around me. It's why my whole mindset is completely different now than it was then. If I read something today the same thing say that I read a few months ago, the meaning of it is so much different because I read so much more now. I work so much more on myself that that everything has a whole new meaning. Life has a whole different meaning now than it did 10 months ago.
Yeah, I can relate to that. The same. And also that song, Happy, the Happy song was coming out. They were playing that song every day when we would go into the cast office, basically. I associate that song with the Miami event.
Oh, that's right.
Um, but yeah, Abraham Hicks says we shouldn't spend 1 minute of our life unhappy. Yes, there'll be ups and downs, but we really shouldn't allow ourselves to dip down beyond the vibration of happiness.
What I started to do is always pre-frame my negatives into a positive, um, because everything's an experience. You can choose to frame it in a negative way or in a positive way. So, for example, the experience when I had on that date, right?
Uh-huh.
That experience, it was an experience, right? She's a cool person, um, and I don't I don't put myself out there enough to get out a lot. So I got out. We went out, and I had a great time. It was just cool to be out and being around people. I was
Right.
actually kind of being hit on from a gay guy again, and she,
Oh
and then she goes, and
no.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Again.
I just like women, right? And
Right.
so she asked me, she's like, well, most guys would be offended by that. I'm like, no, you know what? I'm so comfortable with myself, and I'm open
Right. Right.
that sometimes they may. He wasn't trying to step on any boundaries, but there was just some kind of like banter right there, right? And she's like, well, most guys would be offended by it. I'm like, no, I mean, I know what I like, I know what I desire, so it doesn't matter to me. We're just having a cool conversation, right? And then she's like, oh, that's, I guess, a different way of looking at it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's not the first time that's happened. It happened for the first time it happened. Now, see, I was in a different realm the first time it happened. It happened maybe about 10, 20 years ago, and I actually hit a guy. But see,
Uh-huh.
you're in that conflict, that rage. You don't want to just fight everybody type, you know, realm, that lower realm of thinking, basically. Then you do certain things like that because you're scared, you're paranoid. I was like 25 maybe at the time,
Mhm.
24 maybe, and so you're in that realm of not knowing and not being comfortable enough with yourself to identify it. So I'm comfortable enough with myself; it just doesn't matter. So I just know that I have pull, basically. And he actually was giving us free stuff too, so it was cool. Just being nice to somebody, right? Who would have thought being nice to somebody because you're happy and they feel your happiness, they'll give you free stuff. It's great, right? So, I framed it in the form as this. It was experience just to get out and just have a good time, and nothing more than that.
Yeah. You didn't jeopardize your happiness.
Never. For
Uh,
who? It's my happiness, right? You are so in control of anything that goes on in your life that people don't understand. And so I was in a class, and someone asked me, "Well, what if a person does this?" Well, it's your happiness. You're in control of it's basically the way I see this. I have my own little universe that I live in, like literally,
Mhm.
and and you can come in. You're more than welcome to come in, but you're not gonna kill my vibe. My vibe is my vibe, right? Either you can vibe with me or you can't, because it's my vibe, right? And we can vibe together, right? If we have it on the same vibration level, it's great. So many people don't understand that if something happens, if they get attacked and something happens to them, it sucks the life out of them, and it brings them down to that person's level, and then they get in a fight and conflict. Well, if you come from a of Kristen Marie Sheldon said it. If you come from a realm of love and above, then anything below that is not serving for you. So, and then if you can even look at the teachings of Jesus Christ, is you use discernment with everything that you do, but then you come from that realm of just being from love and above, and there's no reason to the conflict and everything, right? There's not a problem, there's only a solution, and that person may identify with that solution or not. Somebody may want to work with me, they may not. Well, I can't force anybody to do anything. So if somebody asks me for advice, I'll give them sound advice, but it's on them to actually take and use the advice. I can't force or make anybody do anything they don't want to do. It's not what I'm here for. We all should be as models and examples for each other, so that if something happens, okay, well, people shouldn't freak out and find atonement within themselves, so that they can figure things out. You can't make anybody do something they don't want to do. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Hello?
Hi there. Sorry, my
Oh.
computer just shut down.
Oh my goodness. I've been on one like since last night. Stuff is
uh,
coming to me. Crazy stuff.
it's, you can talk, but on the computer is something else right now. It's going on.
What's
I
that?
must have some kind of a virus or something, because it shuts
What's it
down
doing?
randomly. It just shuts down,
Oh,
and
okay.
for a while it was going through some updates, and I always delay those. But it was doing an update like every day, so I have to get my neighbor next door to take a look at it.
Oh, okay.
I'm back. You can see
Yeah,
me? Yeah.
yeah, I can see it. And it's cool. We're back to like switching back and forth now too. So
Okay. I don't
you
know
can
why
see
there's
it.
two pictures of me.
Oh, is there? I had two earlier. Two. I had to get rid of one. I had to hide myself from myself, right?
It's a song.
What are you doing? You're hiding yourself from yourself.
Hide
That would actually be a great video to write down. I'll write that down.
yourself from yourself. Well, it depends on what stuff we're talking about. Our um, reactive mind, we need to hide from.
Why does it think you from being yourself?
Hmm.
I'm taking some notes.
So it's our conscious mind that we have to hide from or hide out and work more with our subconscious mind.
Yes.
Our conscious mind is all wrapped up with the ego. It wants to do everything its way. It's,
And it's so hard to drop that.
it's like going on a raft in a waterfall upstream. Our boat's in the
Yes.
wrong direction, right? And that's what Abraham Hicks says. You just gotta take the oars out of the water and let it and go.
Yes.
And trust.
There's there's excuse me. There's a I see it as you have these two sides to your mind, right? You got your
Mm-hmm.
subconscious and your conscious, right? And in the Bible it says you can't serve two masters. Well,
Right.
you have basically you have them fighting against each other. But see, when it comes down to it, your subconscious is going to steer you in the direction, based on your belief system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna steer you in that direction of no matter what, based on you've fed into it from the past. It's like a computer system. It just picks up on everything. And if you have the same record playing over and over again, that's what's going to control where you're going based on that. You can't until you kind of, I guess you hate to say brainwash, but reprogram it. You're not going to change it.
Right. Yeah, because the habit, you have to plug in different habits.
Yes.
Overtake. That's why we listen to audio, and that's why we do these hangouts to have it become a habit. Like I wrote you the other day that I was starting to hear Abraham Hicks in my head, as opposed to the latest beats on the radio. Come on.
Yeah, I turned the radio off, and I had to go to. Well, I have audios in my car too, and I have audios in my house, and
your computer,
ebook, or something. I didn't watch the news any longer. I just get updates.
Yeah, we're having a hurricane watch over here in Miami. I didn't even know about it.
Really?
My kids are like, "You gotta watch the news, Mom."
The news are trying to. It's all propaganda for fear. And
right.
If you go back to the early 1900s with William Randolph Hearst and his propaganda news cycle, that the government wanted him to do to start the Cuban War, I think it was, So I think since then the news has always been filled with propaganda.
Like how long have we been talking? This time
I think we've been close to an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good.
So it's been lovely chatting with you, Jason, and hearing your story. And thank you for letting me tell a little bit of mine. And we'll catch everybody here again next Thursday.
Yes, next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye.
Bye-bye.